Hey guys, Arbaz here, and I want to share an example product app that can buy, sell, add and remove products. As a disclaimer, I've modified this code from an exercise I've done previously, so hopefully I can use it for this tutorial. I'm using the BlueJ IDE, which uses the Java programming language. If you want to use the source code, I'll link a GitHub repository in the description, where it will be. Firstly, you'll need to make a new project and create two classes, which is what these things are. I just called it product and product list classes. This product app doesn't have any UI itself and doesn't have a main method, so it cannot run. The user must manually create objects, and it's done through the terminal like command line. I suggest first making the product class. This allows you to create products and some methods necessary for the product list to call. Each method, you'll see these blue asterisks and slashes. These are just comments or multi-line comments. It's good for quality of code to include them above every method, and for people reviewing your code to kind of see what's happening if they've it's easy to debug and stuff afterwards. So you do first write public class product, and some instance variables you probably like to add are public int ID, public string name and public int quantity, where ID is the ID of the product, so we could call it ID number 1, ID 2, ID 3. String name, this allows you to call the product anything in a string, so I'll probably do like laptops for this test. And quantity, this refers to how much it will be in stock when we add this to the array list. We'll need a constructor which makes objects of the same name as the class. It will have an ID, a name, and we set the quantity to 0 at the start, or you can set it to anything, but it will just start out at 0. We have some like return methods which the product lists could use, so get ID, get name and get quantity, where it returns each thing per specific product. Then we have, I don't think I actually used this in the end, but set quantity, you can set the quantity to be something. These are very important: increase quantity and decrease quantity. So if you want to increase it by like 5, decrease it by like 18, but the thing is it won't go below 0 because of a method we have in here. And these last two, to string, just shows you the kind of an overview information about the product you're asking about. So you'll see the ID, then the name, and stock level, well as quantity. But as you can see, there's like speech marks and also variables here, and they're added together with pluses, which is called concatenation. It can be a bit confusing to look at, but it will all become like one sentence afterwards, like in the terminal, and easy to read. So ID, then that'll be the thing. And void print, when we activate that, this whole return like thing will be printed as a inner line to the terminal, so in a nice format. The next class you'll want to make is a product list class, which manages the stock and allows you to buy, sell, add and remove products and print the stock. So at the top you'd want to add an import Java util array list. So this is just so the product list understands what arrays are and can store objects in an array. Then you'd call the class product list and add some instance variables. I just add the same ones again from the first one, just so I'm not sure if it's totally necessary, but it's good so both classes understand what quantity, ID and name mean. And then you want a private array list in angle brackets product for this class, so all the products related to this class will now be transformed to an array, or like can be stored in an array called stock. And this is the constructor, so we're making a new a new stock array list, and you have to add new, and it's for like to do with product, so we put the product class here. Then there's a couple of methods. In the end we only get like I think 5 or 6 to play with. So we have add, we can add a product to the stock. We can remove a product from the stock. Item, I think it understands objects as items, so I think that's why we just put item there. And it's calling the remove method to the stock, and this is calling the add method to the stock. So calling this yeah, I think. Then find product, this is quite important. You'll need a for loop and an if statement, so it will find a product based on user input ID. So for the products in the array list, if the product, and then you have to do get ID, so the app like finds the ID of that product. If the ID matches the ID the user put in, if they're the same, then it will return the product. So this is useful for buying and selling, where you put in the ID and it finds that, oh, it's the matching ID, and when you put the amount, then it adds more stock quantity to that product. So these methods, the buy and sell, for or not for, but to do with the products in the product list or the stock, it will find it with the input ID, and then after you type in the amount, so like 50, I want to buy 50 laptops, then it will be product.increase quantity, which is one of the methods we had here. So you can call methods from another class. The increase quantity by 50, and then system out print, it would say bought 50, because that's what you put in here of, and then it will find the product. Sell is a bit more complicated. It will I think I just used most of the code from the example, but basically it won't let you sell below, it won't let you sell anything below 0. So if it's above 0, decrease quantity by the amount you put in. Otherwise, the product is out of stock. And then public void print, this would just print out the product and its information. So to test this, you will want to have a couple of products. So I'll do Dell. We're going to give this an ID of 1 because it's our first product, but it could be anything. And the string name will be, well, I just think maybe Dell XPS 13. Oh, that's not a speech mark. Okay, when I hit enter, so I've created an object and I've given an ID and name, string name. Let's make another one. So I'll do one for HP. So HP, I'll give an ID of 2, and I'll call it HP Omen 16. Okay, that's our second product, and I'll make a third one. So maybe Razor, I'll give it an ID of 3, and I'll call it Razor Blade 14. I think that's a laptop. Anyway, so these are like laptops. And now we need to store these in an array to like manage them. So I'm going to do new product list. I think I can call it just laptops. So when I right click, well, we can inspect these, increase quantity, decrease. You can inspect it and see that it starts at quantity 0, and that's its name, and that's the ID. What I want to do first though, before you can buy and sell, I want to add them to the list. So I'm going to add the Dell. You can click it on it in BlueJ. I'm going to add HP, and I'm going to add, I'll just type Razor. So these 3 products have been added to an array list. So if I print, the terminal should populate. Okay, so here are the products we just created at the beginning, the 3 laptops. Then we made a laptop object, and then we added those, and now it's printed out these products and their stock level. So now they're all at 0 because we set the the first quantity to be 0. So now if I can do it from the stock list, product list directly. I'll buy a certain amount of, sorry, it asked for the ID, so 1, how much should we buy? Like 30? We're rich, so we'll buy 30 of those. How many HPs? Maybe like 15. And razors will buy 40. Cool. So now if we print, we'll see they have now we've bought lots of them, 30, 15 and 40 for each. Now I'll test the sell method. So we'll sell 1 by, we bought like 30, so maybe 8. We'll sell 2 by like 6, and we'll sell 3 by 20. If I print this information to the terminal, it shows deducted by 8, 6 and 20. And now we can try removing some products from the thing. So product item, it accepts the object like name. So if I remove that, and if I remove HP, we should only have Dell left. So if I void print, there we go. There's only Dell on the in the product list. The others have been removed. So yeah, that has been this quick simple product app. So thanks for watching. I hope this has helped your programming. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. Thank you.